stumble around all day. I try to stand up straight, but then...
Hi, and welcome to Talking with Giants. I'm your host, Scott Schilling. Always a pleasure to have you with us. I start these the same every time. That's with my pregame prayer. So here it goes. Lord, allow the words we share here today to positively impact 100% of the lives in this audience in one way, shape, or form. Only you know who you sent to hear this message. Allow us to do the best we can to deliver that message, be a vehicle and of service to you. That's all we can ever control is a high intention and a low attachment. A high intention of imparting something good and a low attachment as to what that might mean for you. Now this is going to be a great show because we're going to be talking about the power of words. Tammy Kling is a wordsmith, a corporate communications expert, and a global best-selling author in more than 26 countries. As a publishing coach, Tammy works with CEOs, celebrities, professional athletes, and other world changers to tell their story. Tammy was called one of the world's top ghostwriters by Virgin.com, and her true gift is using words to change lives. Whether it's in the corporate training setting or delivering a keynote or writing books for world changers, Tammy focuses on communication that builds, elevates, and clarifies. Huffington Post recently did a feature on Tammy called The Power of Words. Her work has been featured in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Dateline, NBC, Extra, Primetime, on and on and on. The best-selling author, thought leader, has led On Fire books for a decade. I could go on forever. Welcome, Tammy, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's always a pleasure to get with you. Our conversations are always great. So let's get right into it. Our time always goes so fast. Tell me about the power of words.
Well, wow, what a loaded question right out of the gate. So the power of words. Well, I really take words seriously. You know, and I try not to talk about it too much, but it comes out naturally. My father committed suicide when I was 7. I think we all really do things in our life based on what shaped us as a child. And for me, it really illustrates the power of words. So if I see someone, even as a child, if I saw someone sad, depressed, a stranger, I didn't hesitate to go sit down with them and talk to them. And it's really become clear to me over the years about the power of words. So when I started On Fire Books, it's a writing company to equip world changers. So a real specific mission. We just don't take any books. We really want to work with people that have a platform that's going to change lives.
You know, it's, I find a lot from a sales training side, I talk about the value of words. And sometimes it's a single word that can be so powerful and make such a difference in somebody's life. How does changing your words change your life?
Well, you're right. You're right. In sales, it's certainly important, and we learn that in sales presentations. And I think sometimes people underestimate the power of words, or they're afraid to change their words, or they're afraid to approach a stranger even and to say what's on their mind or on their heart. I think, especially when it comes to changing our own lives, we have to be really cognizant about what words are we using with ourselves, because you know, we're all really focused on how positive we are with our kids or our spouses, but we forget about that negative self-talk. And we've all heard about, you know, watch your words, guard your heart, you know, watch your words, speak life. But we actually forget a lot. And I caught myself just the other day with a negative, you know, statement going on in my head about myself, you know, and my friend said, just stop it, stop that. You know, so it's easy to forget.
It would be great if we could equip everybody to really be able to spot that negative self-talk. I know I was watching your TEDx talk, which was excellent, by the way, but you were talking about not having the right words at one time.
Yes, and I really believe that's what led me to start writing my first book, and also to start a writing company to give people the ability to talk to us and let us record it and let us coach them through the process of connecting them with publishers. Because I worked an airplane crash in the jungle, and I was standing with a little boy, as you saw on the TED Talk, and I had had years of sales training, just like you know, you're excellent with words. I thought I was excellent with words, and I was standing there in the middle of this crisis with this little boy whose relatives had just been in an airplane crash. And I realized, it just hit me, it doesn't matter how many years of sales training you've had. There's no words. You can't say anything to make things better in this moment. And so I just didn't say anything. And it really kind of caught me and haunted me for a long time. Kind of like, anyone who's a survivor of suicide will tell you that they replay, what could I have said? What could I have done? And it was kind of the same thing with that little boy. I really thought, okay, what could I have said or done differently? Because he got angry with me, actually. But, sometimes there are no words. Sometimes there just are no words.
It's interesting that you say that with what happened here in Dallas a few weeks ago. And then it got followed up in Baton Rouge. And I did a Facebook Live post of, it was just, I was frustrated in behalf of so many people. And all of a sudden I got messages down on the bottom. You're such an empath. But I didn't really have the words to say, but I felt like something had to be said. How do you get that out?
Yeah, well, that's why I truly believe that books are so powerful. And I don't mean that everyone has a story. I mean that some people are anointed and gifted, like you are, to tell their story. You're doing what a lot of people, what I couldn't do. I mean, you're on a show and you are really being led, and you're anointed to pull out the words that need to be said. Every show is going to change someone's life. If I have anything to say to anybody out in your audience, it's never give up. Never give up. Just pause, hit pause when you feel like giving up. And the same thing with your live Facebook. I mean, Facebook gives us an amazing platform to save lives. So I'm really intentional with words, and I try to tell everybody, it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, we work with homeless people, and they can save lives with their words. We all have the same resources. You don't have to be rich to save a life with your words. So
I think that's really exciting, and I know your ministry that does that works to train people up or give them the hope. It's interesting, after I had my stroke event, and it's the only way I came through it. By the grace of God, I'm so phenomenally blessed that I come away with no residual. And I think I wrote about 2/3 of a book about the whole event and everything. And then I went, but is this really what I'm supposed to do?
Right. Well, let me touch on that a little bit, okay?
You're the expert.
Well, for you, I would say definitely, you probably don't even realize how your story, I would encourage you to tell your story over and over again, even every time you interview someone, because your story already probably saved one life in our family, because we have a hatchback that's broken on a Hummer, which weighs thousands of pounds, and we never got it fixed. And we always let the littlest kids even go open it, and your story really stuck with me to where we changed all that. And we said, okay, wait a minute, this, if we really think about the future, this really could be deadly. So your story, just telling one person, changed our family, probably really prevented somebody in our family from getting really seriously injured. So imagine, as Nick Vujicic says, my books can go where I can't go, and my words can then reach people I can't reach. And that's why I love the idea of you telling your story in a book, because it can reach thousands in other countries, Japan, China, everywhere.
We're going to have to talk about this. No, Nick is a great example. I actually, on last Saturday's show with Tom Ziegler, I said, one of the reasons that I feel so blessed to be able to do this is I saw Nick taping a show, Life Today, with James and Betty Robeson. And Nick said, I want to make sure when I go to heaven that there are as many people as I can possibly have up there that I had a hand in. Did I do everything I could do? And some are tasked for millions, some are tasked for thousands, some might only be tasked for one. So that's, he's a great inspiration to me, and I know a great friend of yours as well.
Yeah, he is. He's wonderful. And it's interesting because I had someone say recently, well, to be a speaker on stage or to be a coach, I'm not sure I want to do that because it seems a little egotistical, you know. And I said to this person who is a great mentor, I said, please don't ever think that, because when you get on stage, it's not about ego. It's about genuinely sharing your story and changing a life. So if I work with a speaker or, you know, one of our authors right now, she's unknown, but halfway through her book process, she told me that she had been dropped in a dumpster as a baby.
Oh.
Dropped in a dumpster. And now she's written this whole book about overcoming depression and rejection and abandonment. And she's an incredible believer, incredible human. And her story is so powerful that she's going to change millions of lives. And it's not about being on stage or being a speaker or it's not at all about you. You know, it's about who can we impact, just like Nick Vujicic said.
It pulls to me a comment that was made by Pastor on Saturday, and he said, don't let your history change your destiny. Don't let your history keep you from it. You know, that we've all got stories. We've all had stuff. And I know in my walk, I've learned to thank God for the stuff. Not necessarily the good stuff. I mean, I do thank him for the good stuff.
Right.
But I think it's the other stuff that molds us so much.
Yes.
And then you have the ability to bring that out and serve so many more.
Yes, and it's always astonishing to me to hear what humans went through. But I always think back to that little girl that I was really struggling between the ages of 15 and 23. And I could have gone in any direction, you know. And I think of those kids now, they might not be underprivileged or poor or inner city. They might be in the suburbs, or they might be wealthy, or all ages. You know, sadness and pain does not discriminate. Race, you know, it doesn't discriminate. Socioeconomic. I mean, I've seen CEOs that are depressed, just as depressed as homeless people. I've seen happy homeless people, unhappy CEOs. So, you know, I think the message of hope, anytime we can use our words and really encourage people to use their words, even if they're never going to be a speaker, but they're watching this and they're going to go to the grocery store and they just feel like, wow, I just passed somebody and I felt like something wasn't right. You know, to be bold and just to speak to them. Just speak to them.
One of, again, what that popped up in my head is right after my stroke, as I just got out of the intensive care, literally got out of intensive care, my wife said, let's do something normal. Let's go to the grocery store. And so I walked down one aisle, smiled at somebody and said hi. They kind of looked at me funny. I went down another aisle, smiled at somebody and said hi. In the third aisle, when I smiled at somebody and said hi, they go, are you okay? I go, yeah, I was just being happy. And it was so interesting how just that smile in a friendly hi, very simple word. We just don't do that enough, do we?
No, you're right. You're right. And in some states, honestly, that happened to me recently in a different state. I'm not going to name it, but it happened to me, and I thought, wow, in Texas, everybody would have been fine, you know. But you're right. You're right. Sometimes people, especially today, I think it's really important for us to talk about fear at some point, because everybody wakes up with all these fears. Everything that we're seeing in the media is happening in our world, right? And so it's important to really be cautious about our words and our actions with regard to fear and what we let into our life, you know.
I think from a public side, as I kind of watch your life from afar, I see how affirming you are with your kids and how just amazing you are with them setting the place. I know we ran into each other at Harvest America at AT&T Stadium. You were there with your kids, just pumping all that good stuff in.
Yeah, and I also actually brought other kids there that couldn't afford it, but I really believe in that. I really believe that we can shape our kids in the same way, same exact walk that God's got you on, the kids can be on. We don't have to wait. And honestly, do we have time to wait? You know, I feel this sense of urgency to just pour into them and just, you know, as much as I can, give them that wisdom, and especially those words, which not everyone had those positive words growing up.
Is that why we need the World Changers to step up today?
I think so. I think so. And it's amazing to me to see this industry. You know, when you had Zig Ziglar, everyone thought, well, wow, you know, there's never going to be anyone like Zig again. And certainly Zig Ziglar was so unique, you know, but that era, that Anthony Robbins and Zig Ziglar era, where you've got all these motivational speakers, you know, it's now coming around again where it's so popular, so popular. And what is that? You know, I thought that was an era that might end, but to me, it just shows you that people are never going to get tired of the truth, the word, from truth tellers, you know, pastors, people like Zig who come around. The self-improvement industry is huge, but we have to really break through to really seek the truth, because there's so much coming at us nowadays. So it's also important to say, you know, guard your heart when it comes to words.
Yeah, be careful through it. One of the things, one of my favorite lessons from Zig is another speaker asked him, Zig, every city we go to, you give the exact same talk. How come? He said, well, number one, because people in this city haven't heard this message. Number two, it's because I teach truth, and truth never changes.
Oh, I love that.
It was so powerful. So what you're saying about truth, well, that brings us into a great thing. I know that you're working to share a lot of truth in the conversation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the conversation is a gathering of 100 world changers. We always keep it to 100. It's a specific face-to-face event, and it's around 4 campfires in the forest. So if you think about this, think about the last time that you actually sat with someone face-to-face for an hour, and it just doesn't happen. I mean, we've got social media every single day, which is a great way to connect, but face-to-face with 100 world changers, and you get to rotate, and there's different topics like wisdom and legacy, which are our primary focuses, and then blind spots. And we sit there and talk heartfelt, one-on-one with people like amazing leaders, CEOs, you know, media giants like yourself, you know, everybody from Roma Boots, the CEO of Roma Boots, who's an incredible man, and gives away boots to orphans. I think he sent 10,000 through, 10,000 boots he sent last year. And so we've got some amazing humans that are there. And we also have some homeless there, and people usually don't know that they're a part of the conversation. And it's just really an amazing opportunity for world changers to sit and mastermind with others openly. We don't have any media there. We don't publish the names of the people because a lot of them are celebrities. We did have a major, one of the 2 presidential candidates request to come this year, and we said no. And it's just really led intentionally by the Spirit, and you know, just really a time of kingdom builders to gather.
I love that. I love the idea of kingdom builders coming together in a mastermind. And of course, Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, when 2 or more minds come together, a third and greater mastermind is created. Yes. It gives such a great opportunity to share. I said the other day to somebody, I'm a mutt. And the reason I'm a mutt is because I'm a byproduct of so many mentors. Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Harv Eker, Tony Robbins, John Childers, John Dealey, and the list goes on and on.
And it's like a patchwork quilt.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. So quite frankly, if we take advantage of what's available to us, we all should be better than our...
Yes.
Better is not the right word. See, I caught myself on a word. What? More prepared. We should be more prepared and more diverse than any single mentor, because we have multiple points of input.
Brilliant, brilliant point, because I always have observed that I have personally outgrown my mentors. Doesn't mean I don't still love them, but I believe that you do tend to outgrow your mentors and then move into different circles to connect with different people, which is important, but that means getting out of our comfort zone sometimes. The thing that I love about that event, though, the conversation, is that it's not about, we always say it's the anti-conference because there's no speaker. we have facilitators in the group, but if you think about 25 people in a circle in the forest, it's about those 25 people in that circle, and it's not about any one speaker. Whereas a conference, you're listening to a speaker and you're internalizing those words. This is really different, really different.
Love the concept, certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah.
What, is there a single outcome that you've seen come out of the first ones?
I have. We have definitely seen a lot of people partnering on different business ventures. So for instance, whether it's a ministry or a business, I know that I'm used as a connector. So I don't need to know, what's going to happen, but it's been amazing to see the outcomes and people that didn't know each other connecting. It's been really unbelievable. And we have people that fly in from London and California, and then they end up becoming great friends, almost like sisters or brothers. That's been the most rewarding thing for me, is just to see how all the dots are connected to really equip. You might have one person that has the missing piece over here, an app or a software tool, to somebody that has this incredible idea or ministry, and they come together, and it's just, amazing to see.
I personally love the explosion of social entrepreneurialism. Being an entrepreneur, I love the fact that there's kind of this new classification that it's okay to make money to solve a world problem. There's so many great-hearted people in the world, but not. I've also found there's donor fatigue, that people want to write a check, they can't write a check, they're just tired, they're whatever. But if we could create an entrepreneurial venture that would serve the greater good, that's really exciting to me.
You have touched on a big hot button for me, which after a decade of working on books, it dawned on me that CEOs would always come to me and say, wow, I've built this amazing company and now I want to give back. What can I do? And almost to the point of frustration. So they wanted to either write a check or do a book to help change lives. And it occurred to me, can you imagine if they would have built a company that was a hybrid, nonprofit profit, and they would have been giving back the whole time? They would not have felt like they're on a hamster treadmill, They would have felt like, wow, I'm giving back. And that's what we did. We built a model where what we bring in supports our ability to have homeless people write and edit and transcribe books. So we have both. We have the clients, and then we actually hire homeless people to help transcribe and edit books. And that for me is rewarding to the point where I know that we're changing lives every day, because like we might take your book specifically and send an audio file to a homeless person that we know needs to hear exactly what you have to say.
Wonderful.
So it's intentional, super intentional.
Well, I'd actually love to talk to you more about that model, because that's really what Talking with Giants is. This is a movement far past the TV show. The first book came out of the fact I couldn't write a check when I really wanted to, but I could interview my friends who people were interested in learning about. There's 21 charities tied to the first book.
Wow.
And so in essence, and when Cynthia Kersey made the impassioned plea to support Habitat for Humanity, that was what I did. I collected my friends, wrote the book, and all the proceeds from that book have gone to the various...
Well, and that's the thing is people think that money is the only equity, but there's so much more, so much more value in social equity. And that's why I always say words are currency. You don't have to be rich to change lives and save lives. Most people who really impact nations, look at Mother Teresa or anyone that really impacted lives. You don't have to be wealthy.
Well, I quote Mother Teresa pretty much every show. If you can't feed 100, feed one. Those are some pretty powerful words. All we have to do is rally behind a concept. So again, I so appreciate what you do in helping people understand that everybody, and it's beyond the having the story. It's telling the story.
Right.
Because it's the reception of that story that makes the difference.
That's right.
So I'm still blown away by your Hummer. That's
I really appreciate it. I never told you
No,
that.
I know
but
that.
I really appreciate you telling your story.
No, that's exciting. So we're running down on time. I know you're a great connector, ghostwriter, wordsmith, faith-based relationship expert. What attributes do you like about each of those, if you could do it?
Well, I think
or
that
the most.
I think just being in my calling, I now have a real comfort zone for about the last decade that I'm in my calling each and every day. And the thing that I like best about that is that I know with every step that I'm going to always be doing the right thing as long as I'm hearing clearly and I'm working in my calling, which means as long as I'm not doing books that are for the wrong reason,
right.
Just for commercial reasons, as long as I'm really listening and paying attention and intentional, I can help others live their calling. To me, for anybody out there that really doesn't know what to do with your life, but you have so much potential and you know it almost feels like you're on this edge of a breakthrough, but you're just dying a little inside, because you're not living your calling. Well, you just got to take one step forward. One baby step in front of the other could lead to a huge, huge, major breakthrough. And so I love encouraging people that it's all about legacy and just living your calling.
Let's all do it. Our time is about done. Again, I mentioned talkingwithgiants.com. I want to make sure that everybody has a free copy who wants a free copy. Simply text Free Giants Book to 972-419-4386 and get your own free copy of the book. Understand where this movement started from, because we're going to keep on bringing great guests like Tammy and more great people who have a desire to help world changers truly do that. For Scott Schilling, for Tammy Kling, for everything we're doing here at Talking with Giants, thanks for being here. God bless.
A number of years ago, I met Guinness Book of World Records holder, world's fastest reader, Howard Berg. His ability to manage knowledge impressed me. With the amount of information available today and the pace with which it's coming at us, having the ability to read and remember that information is more critical every day. Howard told me that using his techniques, I could double my reading speed in just a few short hours. Initially, I wasn't sure, but if in fact Howard was right, it'd be the best $100 in a couple hours I ever spent. Then Howard made an irresistible offer. Learn it first. Double your reading speed in just a few hours, or you owe me nothing. Now, how can you go wrong? The results have been amazing. I asked Howard if he would pass along that same opportunity to our TWG audience. Emphatically, Howard said yes. To learn more, simply go to twgspeedreading.com. Watch a short introductory video, sign up for the webinar that best fits your schedule, and double your reading speed in just a few hours, or you pay nothing. Now that's a deal worth looking into. twgspeedreading.com.